Welcome back to the fastest 30 minutes in sports. It's your boy G. Bush. We doing story time, the real testament. We've been talking about quarterbacks and the divine timing. See, timing plays a role in your success or your failures, your downs or your ups. We talk about legendary. We talk about Shedeur Sanders. But a lot of people want to see Shedeur Sanders play today. If it was up to me, I would have been playing him. But sometimes it has to do with timing. Case in point, let's talk about Baker Mayfield, the rise and fall of Baker Mayfield, the real story. Baker Mayfield, another guy who had a cult following. You see, the people who have cult followings, those are individuals that make you emote more than a regular sports person, than a regular quarterback. Those people who show you what it is to be human, to show you and to bring certain things out of you that makes you believe in a person far more than just throwing the football on the field. Baker Mayfield was the first of his kind here. A truly brash individual that came about and said, listen, I'm going to embrace that chip on my shoulder. I'm going to embrace the fact that people didn't think I can do it. I'm a walk-on turn first-round pick. And when you take a look at Baker Mayfield, it was the first person who actually mirrored some of the same insecurities and some of the same passions that the Cleveland Browns fan base had. When Baker Mayfield came here and they opened them coolers up, he threw that Philly special and he caught that touchdown pass against the Jets. Instantly, everybody in the city fell in love because it was the first person who played with that invigoration, that passion. Do you know what? We're going to stick it to you and it's our time. It's our time. And Baker broke the rookie touchdown record. And it wasn't the fact that he was a guy that just had the it. He could throw the football. But slowly but surely, things started to happen. The team was led to its highest, I think the highest peak we've seen since 1999. And COVID, when everybody was at home, thinking about what their life was about, questioning what life was about, wondering what the heck we was going to do as a society. And during that time period, Baker Mayfield led one of the most improbable seasons that we've seen, going to Pittsburgh and smoking Ben Roethlisberger in the Pittsburgh Steelers at Pittsburgh with that devastating loss that we put on them in the playoffs. Baker Mayfield automatically became a hero. But sometimes what happens is you lose sight. And instead of sticking it to people, and instead of being a person that was always playing with a chip on your shoulder and trying to find a reason to get up and find a reason to have that chip, sometimes you need to start playing for more than that. See, it's not about the chip on your shoulder. It's about how you go about continuously building those relationships, being a locker room guy, and being the leader of the team. Slowly but surely, cracks started to show. Baker Mayfield was coming up for a contract extension. We know how it went. Shoulder injury. They kept playing him. And before you knew it, the guy that led us to the Pittsburgh Steelers win in the playoffs was far from what we had seen. The fan base was divided. Baker Mayfield had a rift with the front office because they wouldn't give him a contract. Baker Mayfield had a slight rift with Myles Garrett because of some of his comments. Baker Mayfield had a rift with a lot of fans. Baker Mayfield and his wife had a lot of rifts with a lot of people. And pretty soon, some of that chip on his shoulder that used to be something that we loved and embraced turned out to be the same thing that divided him and the locker room and the fan base. And pretty soon, led to him not returning the owner's calls. Kevin Stefanski cut bait. They thought he was not good. Now, that evaluation on his own, it looks crazy right now. But let's understand something. Baker Mayfield would not be the person he is today without that divine timing. As you can see, people forget the part that's the real truth with Baker Mayfield. He went on to say he would never play for the Cleveland Browns again. He said that. He also said during that time process, he would not return the calls of the owners, would not return the calls of the coaching staff. He made it abundant and clear. in the last game of the season after he had played injured the entire season. He then said he was allocating for elective surgery, and he said his season was over, he was having surgery, and pretty soon, the last game of the season, he did not play, and Baker Mayfield then, after that season, said it was done. So there's armchair quarterbacks that would like to tell you that Baker Mayfield was the same person he is today. He's not. Baker Mayfield is a much different person than he was back then. And how he got to be the much bigger person is well documented. Let's start with his family. He's where he is right now. It's on paper. His family stole, allegedly, $13 some odd million from him. Now think about that. There's a guy who has a bum shoulder, a guy who was a former first-round pick, a guy who the Cleveland Browns refused to give him a long-term deal, and now in that same offseason, he's finding out that his family stole 13 or a bunch of money. A bunch of money. Just say that. It was double-digit millions. Then throw into the fact that he went to the Carolina Panthers and flamed out. He went to the Rams and flamed out, and eventually had to take a minimum deal and have to fight for the quarterback position in Tampa Bay. At that moment, the fall from grace was there. It was there. Now he's looking up, and his wife and him is moving to Tampa Bay to fight for a position with a considerable amount of money gone out of their bank accounts with no guarantees moving forward, recovering from an injury. Let me tell you something. That timing put him in a position where it humbled him, gave him new perspective, and for the first time, he didn't have a chip on his shoulder because it wasn't somebody else's fault. He had to look at himself and say, either I'm going to come in here and do some work on me and develop the relationships with these people in this locker room and use my energy. I don't have to have a chip that's negative. Let me have the positive. Let me have the positive effect, because I want to tell my teammates I care about them. I want to show my teammates I'm passionate and I'm going to ride for them. I'm going to tell my teammates I'm going to pick them up. I'm going to show them this is what it is to play all out all the time. And you know what? That change of energy invigorated the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They already had people like Mike Evans. They always had Godwin. They've always had guys that can play the game of football. They just needed somebody to put that inspiration in them. And when Baker came down there and transformed his game and transformed his mind state, and he had that clean energy, he was running on that clean, efficient energy, not the gas. He was running on pure fusion, clean energy at all times. And you see what it does. Now he's playing like a top 5 quarterback, playing like an MVP. They saying MVP for him. He's still got that same infectious personality, but the divine timing plays a role in how you move. And Baker, his time wasn't in Cleveland. His promised land wasn't Cleveland. But without Cleveland, there is no Tampa Bay. Without the Panthers and Charlotte and Carolina, there is no Tampa Bay. Without Rams, there is no Tampa Bay. And without him losing a ton of money and feeling like I'm at my bottom barrel lowest moment, there is no Tampa Bay. So just realize you can want something all you want. But what we say about the timing, not yours, not mine, but his.